Semaforo is a sculpture created by Arnaldo Pomodoro in 1962. Arnaldo Pomodoro is an Italian sculptor who has made multiple other bronze sculptures for various reasons. Semaforo is made completely out of brass. By applying the formal approach to the sculpture, it will help you understand the different aspects of the sculpture. The rectangular shape of the sculpture makes the entire thing look clean and simple, except the corroded parts. The sharp corners that are created from the rectangular cube add on to the clean and simple look. The corroded parts of the rectangular cube are jagged and rough, creating a complicated look connected with them. If you look at the corroded parts, it starts to evoke uneasiness or scared feelings in contrast to the brass, which evokes purity and clarity. The implied mass of this sculpture wants us to imagine that it is a heavy and cold object. No matter how small the sculpture is, it will still look like it's heavy. The texture of the entire sculpture is a mixture of rough and smooth parts. The smooth brass adds to the feeling of purity, while the rough parts of the sculpture enforce the feeling of uneasiness. The brass has a very reflective surface, and being able to see yourself in the sculpture lets you feel like you're part of the sculpture, and the corroded part is eating away at you. Meanwhile, the corroded part of the sculpture is non-reflective, and you can't see anything when you look at it. The corroded part represents humanity's doubt. For example, the sculpture represents the technological advances of humankind, but along with every advancement there is doubt that comes along with it. Lines are located all over the sculpture that are real and implied. Most of the implied lines are created in the corroded part of the sculpture, while the actual lines are seen at the edges of the sculpture itself and the areas between the reflective brass area and the corroded area meet. Putting everything together, you can see the contrasting parts of the sculpture quite easily, the reflective brass and the dark corroded areas. Along with the contrasting brass and the corroded areas, the texture of the smooth brass and the rough corroded areas also contrast each other. Adding in the shape and the lines of the sculpture help define the sculpture itself.